The fastest runner turned out to be a pumpkin. Due to chemical dumping, the pumpkin mutated into a killer monster, slaughtering townspeople. This is the recently released American horror film, Killer Pumpkin Monster. The annual Halloween finally arrived, and villagers organized a festive pumpkin carnival. The TV station took great interest in the town's event, sending reporter Aji to cover and film it. The party was filled with laughter and joy. Meanwhile, a long-haired man dressed as corn was at an auto shop, originally planning to deliver corn to the pumpkin festival. But his corn truck had broken down, forcing him to wait for repairs before leaving. Impatient, he went to a pumpkin field to relax, but tripped over a pumpkin vine unexpectedly. He'd never seen such a thick vine. Following it, he found an unusual pumpkin. He cut the vine with a large knife and took it, while nearby crows cawed warnings. The long-haired man drove to the festival. A bespectacled man spotted the pumpkin. At night, everyone brought pumpkins to carve. The man with glasses brought the strange pumpkin. Aji broadcast live, uninterested in the competition. The host announced the start. Everyone began carving, but the man with glasses hesitated. His knife was missing. His pumpkin seemed to grow eyes, watching the others carve. Finally finding his knife, the man with glasses prepared to carve the pumpkin. The man with glasses could only grab another knife ready to stab the pumpkin, but he quickly found himself tangled in the vines. Everyone was shocked by this, yet no one stepped forward to help. RJ even thought it was a special effects act, praising them for its realism, which quickly boosted his live stream's viewership. But then, the pumpkin creature attacked again, stabbing directly into his wrist, and the vines controlled his movements. The man with glasses began talking to the pumpkin while this was happening. The man with glasses, with no time to react, made a cut across his own throat, while the contestant next to him couldn't escape the creature's grasp, and had his head completely twisted off by the vines, soaking the scene in blood. As people saw this, they started screaming. The white-haired man tried to step in with a knife, but the pumpkin creature was quicker, stabbing the knife back into his hand, and eventually slicing off his scalp. Everyone finally acted on the danger and started running for the exits. Xiaobai at the door urged everyone to leave quickly. As two tried to run out, they were killed outright by the pumpkin creature. Xiao Hei got caught in the vines and was pulled in while Xiaobai led the others to a warehouse to hide. He tried to call Xiao Hei on the walkie-talkie, but found it had fallen outside, leading him to fear the worst. As a few ventured to the door to check outside, they saw the pumpkin now sprouting a flower and emitting constant roars. A woman speculated it was due to a chemical leak that brought their family to the town. This situation led to a pumpkin mutation. After hearing the news, one young man started to complain, causing the argument to intensify. An elder stood up to stop them, claiming to be a veteran, and asserted that the main task was to fight the pumpkin monster together. He even took a moment to teach everyone how to deal with it, but the pumpkin monster seemed to hear his voice, quietly came to the warehouse door, and pierced his internal organs, scaring everyone. A heavy-set woman quickly closed the door, and the monster temporarily left. The pumpkin monster's phone. Now, the only place to make a call is in the office. A short-haired girl stepped up at that moment, decided to go to the office alone for help. But when she walked slowly towards the door, she saw survivors outside through the crack in the door. It was the reporter. The reporter had been hiding in the corner since the incident occurred. She decided to record a video of herself killing the pumpkin monster, hoping to make a name in the reporter world. But the plan didn't go as she expected. The next moment, she was thrown onto a high-voltage station, instantly turning her into a crispy critter. This caused the whole community to lose power, and the original plan to make a call was forced to stop. The pumpkin monster began to attack the warehouse but couldn't break in because the wall was too hard. So it thought of a solution. It drilled its vines into the ground and then extended them into the warehouse. Everyone was scared that they were next once they stepped into the warehouse. At that time, a walkie-talkie from Xiaobai made a noise. Xiao Hei had been calling all the way from the second-floor building opposite the warehouse. Xiaobai said the pumpkin monster was watching them, and it seemed like Xiao Hei had a plan. Xiao Hei suddenly came up with a plan, remembering that she had dropped the walkie-talkie on channel 11 outside at that time. So she asked Xiaobai to tune the walkie-talkie to channel 2. I did not expect this plan to actually draw the pumpkin monster away. Xiao Hei used channel 2 to contact Xiaobai, telling her that the pumpkin monster had left the warehouse at this time. At that time, the short-haired girl did not expect that there were still 5 walkie-talkies on the second floor. She asked Xiao Hei to find the walkie-talkies and then switch to channel number 1, and then throw them to different positions to attract the pumpkin monster to come in. At this time, the pumpkin monster found the walkie-talkie. It immediately rushed over and said to the walkie-talkie, The pumpkin monster has left the warehouse, Xiaohei said. The pumpkin monster has left the warehouse. By this time, the pumpkin monster had already left the warehouse. 记好评的。然后分别扔到不同的位置吸引南瓜。Different spots attract the pumpkin monsters, giving them a chance to find car keys and escape. Xiaohei made a slingshot, launching walkie-talkies to create a diversion using sound. The plan worked, luring the monster, but an unexpected twist occurred. Xiaohei mistakenly sent the sound to Xiaobai's walkie-talkie instead. As Xiaohei prepared the next device, the monster spotted him and sought revenge. Injured, Xiaohei tried to hide, but the fast monster forced him back. He bid farewell to Xiaobai, who refused to leave. The girl went to save Xiaohei alone. Xiaobai arrived too late. Both friends were killed by the pumpkin monster. Others got the car keys, but a vine caught one. The rest fled to a warehouse. They risked going for a corn cart, but a woman returned for her flute and was caught. The group reached the cart but helplessly watched the woman's capture as they fled. They discovered the long-haired man had been sleeping in the car, avoiding the attack. The short-haired girl described the farm incident. Just as they thought they were safe, the pumpkin monster caught up. The monster reached the car roof. The long-haired man grabbed the wheel, trying to shake it off. Suddenly, it opened the back door, terrifying everyone. Distracted by the monster, the long-haired man crashed into a tree and flew through the windshield. The girl woke to find the boy covered in blood, nearly crying until realizing it was just a fake blood pack. They found the fat woman missing, then discovered her stabbed outside. They soon collected their lunch boxes. The boy realized the monster targeted pumpkin carvers from the party. Feeling at risk, he devised a plan. The three adjusted their breathing and lay still as the monster quietly approached the car. Just as they thought they'd escaped, the pumpkin monster reappeared. At the critical moment, the long-haired man's return saved them. The monster recognized him as its captor and dragged him to an open field. He saw the monster caressing the pumpkin lantern, realizing its pain and hatred for humans carving pumpkins. The monster then suffocated the long-haired man with the flowers on its head. With 3 survivors left, the girl decided to seek help in a nearby village, asking the man to watch the boy. En route, she met an armed old man, recognizing him as the long-haired man's father. She explained the situation. The old man found it ridiculous and unbelievable until the possessed long-haired man approached them. Realizing the danger, the old man shot at the monster. The long-haired man's body shielded it, resulting in his arm being shot off. As he reloaded, the monster's vine grabbed the gun and stuffed it into its own stomach. He then shoved the gun barrel into the old man's mouth. With that, the old man was shot in the head. The short-haired girl used this chance to flee, meeting a man and boy who quickly checked if the pumpkin monster pursued them. She was shocked to find they were in a pumpkin patch, but these gourds were unusual, like the monster's offspring. The creature found them, its vines wrapping around the boy's neck. It was determined to kill all who carved pumpkins. The girl grabbed a small pumpkin, ready to fight for her life. Surprisingly, this worked. The monster withdrew its vines, but she feared it would attack again. She ran to a warehouse, placing the pumpkin by a crusher. As the monster came for her, she hit the machine's switch. The crusher activated, catching the creature's neck. In the end, the pumpkin monster was pulverized into juice. When it was over, they exited to find dawn had broken. A woman on a motorcycle found them, unharmed as she hadn't carved pumpkins that night. They smashed the remaining abnormal gourds into pulp, and the film concluded. So that covers the full story of the American horror flick, Killing the Pumpkin Monster. Thanks for watching. See you next video. 再见。